What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Infamous Fishing here, back again with another install for the Hobie Mirage Lynx. This time I'm going to be installing the Berley Pro transducer cover for my Lowrance Elite FS transducer, so stay tuned. All right, folks, so the first thing you want to do is you need to remove the cover that Hobie comes with. This is a Phillips head screwdriver, and you can use a drill if you want, but I usually just use it by hand because inserts. Make sure you don't lose any of your screws. These are thicker screws. In the Berley Pro kit, it comes with screws too. You might have to reuse these, but don't lose them. Keep them. This is one if you're using the transducer that doesn't have the side scan but only down scan, it will go. What comes with the Berley Pro: the cover, two plates, and some hardware. So what I normally do is I make sure that everything is together and fits up the way it's supposed to. Now, if you notice, you can use this one, but it's not going to sit flush. So you have to use the spacer in here. And you need to make sure that your screws for the spacer fit the way they're supposed to. Because there's a flat side, and then there's a side the screws go in. And you can see it. This one looks compressed, so no screws will go in on this side. I don't know if you can really see it, but so this is a must. You gotta have that in there. And then this is what mounts to your transducer. Now you run the transducer cable through here, and then you use the screws from that came provided with the Lowrance, and you will screw those on, and I will get that to you in a minute. I'm just trying to pre-fit everything, make sure I got everything together. So stay tuned, and I will be back. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is take your transducer cable, make sure it's untangled, and you're going to run it through here. You're going to take your, wait, hold on. Jesus. Never mind. Take that back. All right. First thing you're going to do is you're going to take your transducer cable, insert it through the hole in the spacer, and run it all the way through the Lynx. And you're going to make sure that everything is where it should be. And you can just double check. You don't have to put no bolts or nothing. See how it looks. Make sure everything lines up. So what you're going to do now, provided in the Lowrance fish finder kit, it comes with these screws that screw into the transducer. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the flat side of this and line up the holes. You only need 4 because it's not gonna mount up here. Now if you want to, which you can put on your threads a little bit of Loctite just to make sure nothing loosens up once you're on the water. And you don't need a lot. Got some in my hand. You can hand thread it. Get this to get them started. And you do that for all 4 of the holes. Up to you. If you want to Loctite it again. And it's missing. Make sure you line them up. Don't cross thread them. And you should be fine. I use it to start on my hand. I got 2 more screws to go. Make sure you always put the cap back on your Loctite. And don't drop your washer like I almost did. They have little lock washers. All right, so once you got that done, your next step is to just tighten them down and tighten them down in a pattern. So not too tight, just a cross pattern so they get an even distribute of the load. It's there. 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be good. Double check, make sure it's tight. Don't over tighten it. All right, now the next step, your cable's already ran through, is to make sure that everything lines up. This cable's a pain in the neck. All right, so wiping my surface off. I had some stuff on it. Now what you're going to do next is install the cover. Now there's 3 bolts. Well, 2 like screw bolts if you want to call it, and then 1 like, or you want to call it regular screws. 1 like cutting, self-tapping cutting, and then like some fine thread ones. You can put on the fine thread ones some Loctite on them because this is where this screws into this plate. Because this is interesting. Okay? But before you do that, double check that you have screwed in the other bolt for over here, which is very important because this is what's going to keep it in the spot. So take the screw from the original Hobie, and tighten it down, not too tight. Should be okay. Then you take your other screws, let's try to get them started. To make sure they work, because I had double checked. All right, so they're good. Take them out. I had to double check because they look like they didn't want to hold. So now, I don't know if this is gonna hold. It might. All right, so I'm lining up the cover, trying to. If you need something to put in there to hold it, to keep the holes lined up, you can do that. But try to get this started. I didn't get it all the way tight. I have Loctite on it. I just need to line up the hole. There we go. Line up the hole. Boom. I started it, got it in there a little frustrating. And don't do that. All right. Now I take my other screw, they have you a longer one. Which is longer than, I'll show you. The other screw is a little longer than the stock one. Get all the way through. Try to get it lined up best you can. You don't want to re-mess this up because I don't know why. Interesting. Well, maybe I might need to take those screws out first, because it's not, yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm taking out the screws. Because it's not lining up like I want it to. That's why it's always key not to tighten it down all the way. And plate not going in. Huh. That's interesting. There we go. So I had to adjust the screw in the back So right here in the back, there's a screw. The slot, it's not one hole, it slides. So you have to adjust it to get it to line up. So now it lines up. And I can try to get these screws back in here. Lighting is the key. I might have to go get my headlamp. I can't see where the holes are at. Man. Done. All right. Make sure you put this screw in. Don't tighten it down all the way. Then you can line up the other holes. Don't put them all in. And you want to barely get them started. Just get them in there enough so you know everything is perfect. Did your last check. So all the screws are in. The supplied BerleyPro screw for the insert is in. These are like attached to the spacer, which they have Loctite on them so they don't come undone. You want to go into the tight, not too tight. Make sure everything is lined up. And that is it. That's how easy it is. Do one more double check with the screw. Good. Tight. That's good to go. So, as you can see, bolt, screw, and 2 screws, and then there's a screw underneath, which use the factory. You put that up. The other screw that came with this one, they took off from the original plate, put that up and label it Lynx in case you want to sell it and you don't want it. All right, but folks, so now that you have the BerleyPro transducer cover installed, it's time for you to figure out what you want to do with this. There's many options. I don't know what I want to do yet. A lot of people just have them wrapped up and underneath the seat, in the seat, but that's up to you. And I'm gonna leave that what you guys feel, what you need. I've seen some people have shorter cables and they have them stuck in here. All right, folks, this concludes my installation of my BerleyPro transducer cover for my Elite FS Lowrance. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, like and subscribe for future videos. I have a lot more coming for this build. And once again, thank you for following. Have a good one.